the bottom line on why men purchase sex is just basically because they can.
The only reason we have commercial sex is that there's demand for it. People need to understand that even the parts of commercial sex that are legal, like strip clubs, are not without harm at all with respect to children and others who are being exploited by the sex industry.
What I discovered was that many people didn't want to talk about what was breaking our girls. They had a will for ignorance about the fact that older men were preying on a young girl's desperate need to feel valued. A willful ignorance about the cycle of addiction that ensnares girls in a life of exploitation. A willful ignorance that these girls were actually the victim. That servicing John after John after John wasn't some thrill ride or youthful adventure. That being dragged into hotel rooms and dark alleys and bathrooms isn't some feminine fantasy.
And all of a sudden I realized, if what you're focusing on is breaking the law by buying, the issue of whether she's choosing or not choosing, do we call her traffic, do we not call her traffic, that goes away. It is a non-issue if you focus on the demand.
For too long, our approach to the unlawful commercial sex industry has focused on the traffickers. We need to adjust our approach and look hard at the demand side as well.
When I first became sheriff, it was abundantly clear to me that just arresting people who are prostituting themselves made no sense on multiple levels. It made no sense from a law enforcement side, it made no sense from a human side.
We've recognized that, number one, prostituted people are victims, and that if we're going to focus on demand, we're going to have to even get past the shorthand of Johns, call these guys sex buyers, and prosecute them.
For far too long, we've mostly been arresting the wrong people. We've been arresting the victims, but it's a bit like arresting people who got shot instead of people who do the shooting. It may be easier to do because they're easier to find, but it's not solving the problem.
We're encountering bank executives, doctors and lawyers, and I guess some of it depends, to get down in the weeds, it would depend on where you're looking. We have noticed differences in who the buyers are, whether we're discussing the street trade versus the internet trade, but it's all walks of life and all backgrounds. There are people that would be sitting next to you in church or that you'd be grocery shopping next to.
But we came to realize that, hey, these guys over here, they have the money, so they have the power. And these guys over here, the traffickers and the pimps, they will do anything to get the money. So we realized that if we can remove these Johns over here and put them away, we will automatically end prostitution and trafficking.
No, but for the most part, the police get it. And they understand that prostitution is both a magnet of and a generator of any heinous felony you can think of, murders, rapes, kidnapping, anything. And it's the broken window theory. If we take care of this thing, the bigger stuff goes away.
We actually need to arrest these guys, and then we need to educate them about what they're doing, and we need to have survivors in the room telling them, we didn't like it, right? This wasn't something that was fun for us. Your fantasies about us enjoying it, not true.
The Johns will say very clearly that they will either be deterred from sex or stop buying sex if they get penalties like potential for felony charges and operations where they see that the venues in the community are all subject to demand suppression, where they see a continued sustained operation where they are the target. They need cultural messages that what they're doing is wrong, and the way they hear a cultural message is from law enforcement.
So if there was ever a time for us to stand up and stop this, it's today. You cannot be doing anything more important than stopping this in our own backyard, making a difference, pulling together with other agencies. This is not a problem that the police can fix. It's not a problem that medical people can fix, or social workers can fix, or courts can fix. This is a problem that will only be fixed if we all work together. that we raise the alarm among the community, that people understand how serious this is, and that it is time to stop it.
And so one of the things that we were able to do over the last year was partner with MTVU, and we partnered, it's us, Polaris Project, and Free the Slaves, and so we're addressing both sex and labor trafficking in the US, and that campaign is obviously really, it's MTV University, and so that campaign is aimed, you know, really at college-age students, young people, and one of the things that we talked a lot about initially, and they came in very excited and gung-ho about doing this work, but not with a lot of knowledge necessarily. And so we spent a long time kind of talking to them about what the field needed. And we talked about college-age men buying sex, college-age men going to strip clubs, and not having any understanding of what they were participating in. And how do we begin to reach that group of folks? And so I worked really, really, really closely with them on this video. It's something that, right, it's only 60 seconds. It's something that I think really addresses kind of the demand piece. And this isn't necessarily survivors getting up and telling their stories, but right, survivors were involved in the creation of this, the writing of this, the development of this, and ultimately I think it humanizes the young woman at the heart of it.
My father abused me. I've lived in 4 different foster homes. I don't even know how many men I've been with. I've been doing this since I was 14, and I'm tired. I don't like this. Is this all I'm good for? Do you even care who I am?